aren't able to participate. I told Katie I would record it. I know that the Creative Business Accelerator is working with some other groups to try to bring some makers from, I think you guys are all from Johnstown. Is that correct? Okay, I have like a kind of a bad memory, and they're also working with another group from Wheeling. So I want to make sure I have the right group to participate in the Handmade Arcade, which is Pittsburgh's, we're the largest holiday market in the city of Pittsburgh. We have been around since 2004. We started as a volunteer run LLC, and we transitioned to a nonprofit in 2015. And I've been a part of the organization since 2006, either as a maker or a volunteer. And then I helped transition as like a volunteer kind of consultant to the nonprofit, because I have lots of experience in the nonprofit world and before I started doing this. So we wanted to just give you guys like an overview of the event. I'm going to share my screen and try to give my little presentation as best I can. I am trying to like make technology work for me, not against me these days, and I just don't know how I'm doing some days. So, slideshow. So I don't know. Can you guys? Okay, perfect. So what are you seeing? What I have two screens. Are you seeing just the slide or both pieces?
We're seeing this slide and the next slide.
Okay, I'm going to change to my other screen. It's another thing I get. I have like two large screens. Okay, so what is Handmade Arcade? This is our mission, vision, and values. We just went through a strategic plan process, and we went from being more of a we're really focused, maker focused right now. Like we're really moving into a new phase of the organization since we've been around since I think 18 years, if I do the math, my math is right. We've always sort of focused on events and getting like shoppers and vendors and folks into our events, and we're really good at that. And so now we're like switching gears to be more maker focused, to make sure that we're developing programs and we're developing partnerships with folks who are working in like professional development realm, to making sure that like makers are, you know, meeting their goals as small business owners. So you know, this is just like our little nonprofit spiel. We really believe in supporting the local craft and maker event. And it's like, I don't know if you guys know a lot about the maker community in Pittsburgh, but it's really strong and it's really thriving. And a lot of that began in 2004. When we founded our event, it was an alternative to fine arts fairs and to like, there are a couple arts fairs in Pittsburgh, the Three Rivers Arts Festival, which had always historically been a fine arts festival. And now they're like more into like more indie craft and more things that are more like, what we would consider like what the reason why we founded Handmade Arcade in 2004. And so we started doing this for like holiday events. We do a lot of things with youth and minority makers and emerging artists. So our holiday market, this is where you would come in. This is like a really great opportunity that the Creative Business Accelerator provides for makers. Every year for the past couple of years, they have done these scholarship tables, and this is just an overview picture of the event from last year. Last year, we played it really safe with COVID. We had, I think this is from last year. I can't tell if people are, no, this must not be, because those people don't have masks on. But last year we played it really safe with COVID. We had folks wearing masks. We had the event spread out. This year we're going to be in the largest hall ever in the convention center. We have a map of 250 tables on the floor. That includes 200 makers who are juried in. It's a juried event. We had 438 applicants. We narrowed it down to 200. And then we have 50 extra tables for folks like you, or for sponsors, or we have 20 youth maker tables that we support. And then we have hands-on activities where we have, like, for example, the Pittsburgh Glass Center this year They're going to be doing glass blowing at our event. And last year they made so much money with their small vendor table at the event that they decided they weren't going to host their annual glass sale anymore at the Glass Center because it didn't make any money compared to what they made at Handmade Arcade. And when I found that out, I reached out to them and I said, hey guys, like that, I think that's sad, because there's a bunch of glass makers who are smaller, who sell at your glass fair, who won't get a chance to sell this year. So why don't we host it? So this year we're going to host the Pittsburgh Glass Center's annual glass sale, which will incorporate their high-end barware and stuff that they make, along with all of the smaller glass folks, the glass makers who make things there. So it's really like, it's just a really, really big event. I can give you, so it's happening on Friday, December 2nd and Saturday, December 3rd. We had over 10,000 shoppers that came in those 2 days last year. And based on the reports from vendors, we had over $500,000 in sales, just like in reported sales. And so the way Handmade Arcade works is we don't take any kind of percentage from sales. Vendors pay a booth fee, which we try to keep low. And then admission to the event is free to keep crowds engaged and high. And this picture is Lukisa Denise from Triple Moon Alchemy, and she was sponsored last year for Handmade Arcade. And I've purposefully included her into this presentation because she is a newer maker, and she was really nervous about participating in our event. She was worried she wouldn't have enough stuff. She was worried she wouldn't have a good presence. And she ended up not only selling out of everything, but she had like an amazing event. She met a ton of makers. She grew her business. Her business has grown exponentially since last December because she made connections. She made wholesale connections, because we have folks that come from all over, not just to shop for like holiday gifts, which they do, but to shop as buyers from stores. Like we have a bunch of folks that will come and look for people to sell in their stores. So she, is like super stressed and really, really nervous about the event, and was thinking about dropping out. And when I found out, I called her and I was like, listen, like, you're going to do great. And if you like need support day of, we have a team there. We will help you as much as we can. I was like, bring what you can. And, it's an opportunity that you're not going to get again. The Creative Business Accelerator giving you this free table, the return on the investment is huge. So she did great, and her business has grown like a ton since then. So like I was saying earlier, this, here's some reasons like why you might want to participate. We consistently draw over 10,000 shoppers. So the way it works is that vendors are required to, so you'll have to take, if you have a full-time job, you'll have to take Friday off. We have vendors, we have move into the event from 12 to 4 on Friday. The convention center has Teamsters on site. And the way we set it up, we allow, depending on like how busy it is or what time you get there, you have timed load-ins based on where your table is. And most vendors are able to drive their car right up to their table, unload, take your car, go park, and come and set up. And then at 5 o'clock, we open the doors for our ticket. So we only have like a couple of opportunities to fundraise. And so we do a Friday night happy hour, which is a ticketed event when there'll be food, concessions will be open, and there's a cash bar. And we have, in the past, we've had 600 to 1,000 folks come to that. And so it's kind of like a slow night. It's a slow start to the event, but it's kind of nice because it gives you an opportunity as a maker to walk around, see what other folks are making, network, meet other people. And then the folks who come to the Friday night event are often, we give free tickets out to all of the small stores and places like that we want to have like people who might do consignment or buy wholesale. We try to get a bunch of people from the area to come to like meet new makers. And then the next day on Saturday, you need to be back at your table by 9 a.m. Because the doors open at 9:30 for our early shoppers, which are like our hardcore fans who come early on Saturday, want to beat the crowd. And then the doors open at 11 to the public. And the way we did it last year, we're going to keep it this year, it's free admission, but we're going to ask folks to sign up for timed tickets again. We did that last year because of COVID precautions. We're going to do it again this year because it kind of actually helps spread the crowd out. In 2019 was what I thought was our biggest year ever. We had so many people at the event early that it was like you couldn't move, like you were like smashed in there. So by doing the time tickets in 2021, we were able to control that and only allow 2,000 people in every hour. So it really helped. Like the makers were like, at first they were like, it was slow and they were worried because they were used to that rush of people. But by the end of the day, most of our makers had sold out of items. We have a huge fan base who come specifically to shop local, to shop handmade, to reinvest in Pittsburgh's creative community. And we also do hands-on activities. This year we've booked over 15 hands-on activities. We have the Pittsburgh Glass Center will be doing glass blowing. The Frick Museum is going to be doing a make and take. We have screen printers. We have like a girls robotics team coming, and they'll drive robots around all day. So families come. It's all ages. People come from West Virginia, Ohio, all over Southwest and Northwest PA, even like middle of PA. Folks like make it a week, like a holiday event weekend. So, this is just like the exposure that you'll get as supported CBA makers. The CBA will have a one-day Instagram takeover day where they will blast out your businesses to our followers, and then there will be a message. This is actually a picture from last year. You can see it's like in a much bigger room and more spread out. So you'll be your business will be listed in the sponsorship will be listed in to our email list, and you'll get specific like shout outs from the Creative Business Accelerator. A little more about event logistics. So it's the 2-day event, Friday and Saturday. We don't do it Saturday and Sunday because the convention center is unionized, and for us to do it on a Sunday, everything is time and a half, and we can't keep fees low for vendors and do it on a Sunday. So we used to just do it all on Saturday, and we would have vendors start loading in at 6 a.m. But when we started to do the Friday load in, vendors who have done it year after year after year were like so grateful. They were like, it's so worth taking a day off of work or figuring this out, because that's the stress of 6 a.m. load in to being there until 7 p.m. So the event runs from 9:30 to 7 p.m. 9:30 to 11 is another ticketed event. And then 11 to 7 is the free admission. So what you'll get is a 10-foot by 10-foot display space, a table that you do not have to use if you have a display that you don't need to use it. We just put tables in everybody's space, and then if you don't use it, we tell you to pull it into the aisle, and the Teamsters will come and take it. You'll get 2 chairs, load in and load out assistance. And then we have this thing called the virtual maker profile. It's so in 2020, when everything shut down, we got a large grant from the R.K. Mellon Foundation to build a virtual marketplace, which was really popular. We tried to do a virtual market last year. It didn't really work because nobody was really interested. But what we did find out, people didn't want to shop online. They wanted to come in and like meet the makers, and it's very like a very tactile event. So we're going to repurpose it and use it more like a catalog so that folks can like use. So you'll get a login and you'll be able to populate your page. It's not a lot of, I don't think it's a lot of work, but I also used to develop websites in a past life. So I like, don't know. I don't think it's a lot of work, but some makers have struggled with it. It's basically like a profile picture, contact information, up to 6 slides of yourself or your studio, your product. We used to have products during the virtual market time, but we're not going to do products on there this year. So it'll basically just be like a pre-shopping catalog where people can go in and see who's going to be at the event. They can plan who they want to go and see, figure out where their table is. And also it'll be open, it'll be live online for a couple, we'll keep it up for a while so that people who like may have like, I didn't buy that. I wish I could remember who the maker was. They can go back and like find you. And a lot of makers report to us that after Handmade Arcade, they get a lot of sales in the weeks following saying, oh, I saw you at Handmade Arcade and I regret not buying this. And I really want to get that product from you. So it's really in your best interest. Like it's not like I can't force you to fill out a virtual maker page. I'm like requiring it, but if you don't fill it out, you just aren't going to show up on our website as a maker who's participating. So it's like it's like a huge lost opportunity in my opinion. So I kind of talked about this, the load, I absolutely 100% forgot what I had put in this slideshow that I made last week. So I obviously already talked about this. So the load in details are between 12 and 4 on Friday. Setup is at 5. Teamsters are available to help, and then you have to stay until 7:30. One of the things that we do have, we get a block of rooms from the Weston William Penn, which is connected to the convention center, and it's right across the street. There's like a convoluted way to find yourself there through the convention center, but it's like very confusing. So I always just like go down out the door and walk across the street because I spend the night between Friday and Saturday. It's a lot easier. So the load in is like super easy. I do assign like sections of the event so that like we can have like a smooth load in, so not everyone shows up at the same time. But if you have like specific requests, like you need 3 hours to set up your table and you want to be there right at noon, just ask and I'll make sure, or you can just, just like let me know. And then or if you only need like an hour, you can come later. It doesn't matter, like, but we just sort of like give these ranges. So that's the Friday event. Saturday, you've got to be back in your booth no later than 9. There's the early bird shopping. We've been doing that since the beginning of the event. It's a really popular way for some of like it's kind of funny. It's like a lot of like really diehard fans who want to come and get, like they want to get there. They know what they want. They know who they want to shop from. They come in, they come out, and they're gone before that we open to the public. So the extras, we do have the reserved block of rooms. I just finalized that today. They'll be $149 a night. And then for tear down, we tell vendors not to tear down your space until 7, but you can like slowly start tearing it down when it's slow. It will slow down significantly around 5:30. But it's worth keeping it open for that extra hour and a half for especially because it's the Sabbath, and a lot of folks come with sundown on Saturday. So we have a large, like, Pittsburgh has a really big Jewish community, and since we're not open on Sundays, they're able to come. So we keep it open for that reason. And, you have to we ask people to tear down their space completely before you go and get your car. And then you'll come back up to the loading dock. You'll drive back up to your space, load your car up, and head home. We just have to be out of the convention center by 8:30. Otherwise, I start to cry because I've been there for 36 hours straight. This is the virtual catalog that I had talked about. So you'll get a login. I have a step-by-step instruction guide, and I have videos that I made I made when we first built the event. Like, it's just like take you through how to do it step by step. And I broke the videos up into chunks so that you don't have to like some makers didn't there's some like older makers who had a really hard time going virtual, and so like I go through like a whole thing on like how to resize images, which like more advanced makers don't know how to already know how to do that, so you can skip that video. It's not but there'll be like a video how to log in, how to add your slides, and it's pretty easy. It's a WordPress website. We tried to like keep it as simple as possible. And then so this is a screenshot right here of what it looks like when you go to the like the homepage of the market. It won't be called the virtual market. I'm going to change that to the to the holiday market catalog. But all of the categories of the different makers are here, and it just populates your pictures. You can click on artwork and you'll see like a slide of everybody's who's like in the artwork category, and then you can click on that and like dig deeper in to the event. So before I just kind of go into my next little spiel, which is a little less, I'm going to take a little break. It's just like, I talk really fast. So does anybody have any questions about the event that they want to ask right now?
So will you have that block of rooms like available for us? You'll give us info on that.
Yeah, so I signed the contract today with the Weston, and I'll get a link, and you'll just like click through the link and I'll share that with everyone. We have 40 rooms for Friday, less for Saturday because most people just want to go home. Most people are local, so as soon as I have that link and you have confirmed with Katie that you're, going to be a part of it, what will happen is I'll add you to our maker email list. So I communicate with everyone through MailChimp. So you'll have to make sure our emails don't go to your spam. And so like I am like super type A in the details that I give people. I want like one of the pieces of feedback we've gotten over the years is that Handmade Arcade has been one of the easier events to do in terms of like tear down and set up, because like I'm like really like a super detailed person. So like I can remember, it's like funny, like I can't remember certain things, but like I can remember this ridiculously like detailed checklist. It's probably some like neurodiversity going on in there with me, but that you need to like have a successful Handmade Arcade. So like we'll add you to the list, we'll add you to the Facebook maker group, you'll get shout outs, like we'll do the social media postings. There'll probably be a blog post about your group because of the sponsorship, and you'll get like the links to anything that the makers would get. You'll get the links to that. And we also have on our website a For Makers page that will like detail out all of this information as well. Yes, Andrew.
Do you have any analytics about what sells the best?
Yeah, well, I don't have any like specific analytics. I have anecdotals. So
Okay.
it is a holiday market. It is a gift market. So makers who, so Handmade Arcade is this like amazing event, but I'm the only employee. So like, we don't have like a CRM system or anything to track like data. I do surveys at the end, which I will send to you. Anecdotally, makers who have items that are like smaller gift items, like that sell as like gifts, like $20 to $50, tend to do really well, because people come there with a list of folks they want to get holiday gifts for. So if you are coming with only items that are like $250 or more, you're not going to do as well, because it's like kind of a grab and go gift situation. I know that like I know, for example, like Una Biologicals is a bath and body wellness maker here in Pittsburgh. And last year, I know they made over $12,000, and their sales were mostly between the $7 and $15 range. So that's how they did it, because it was like, we're still in a pandemic, we're in a recession, folks are not looking to spend that, hundreds of dollars on one thing. I mean, some people will do that. Like, anecdotally, I went to my brother's house a couple of years ago after Handmade Arcade, and I said, that painting is new. Where is that from? And he says, oh, I bought it at Handmade Arcade. I was like, you bought an original painting at Handmade Arcade? And he was like, yeah, don't tell my wife, but it was like $750. And I was like, Jesus, he's a doctor. I was like, Jesus, like, how did you do? But, like, so occasionally that will happen, but for the most part, it's more gift. It's more of think of it as a gift market.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anything, so I can go through, I mean, I don't know how much like you guys do in terms of shows. So I have like information about sort of what you might, come on, like hit something. Like, so when you come to this event, this is like kind of the thing, my spiel I give to new makers, like this, it's a really hard event to do alone. So if you're able to bring a partner or a friend or a spouse or, someone who's can handle like the long days, we highly recommend you bring support people. We highly recommend you have to take a credit card. We've had makers, I mean, this is like, years back, who just were like a dead set against taking credit cards, and nobody carries cash anymore. In fact, the convention center is going cashless this year, so you can't even like have cash at concessions anymore. We always say, make sure you put signs up so people know who you are, and make sure you price things so people know what your prices are, because of the crowds. If you have stuff out, like you say you've crocheted a bunch of hats, and people are looking at your hats, and there's not a sign to tell you how much the hats are, a large percent of the people are just going to keep walking, because they want to like look and see exactly what your costs are. And we always recommend folks bring bags, just because it does help. A lot of our people do bring tote bags with them, but it does help to have that. And that's like another opportunity to like stamp your business name or your contact info on it. This is what I tell my youth makers. I took this right out of my youth maker meeting. I tell my kids this all the time. You want to always bring water and food, because you don't necessarily know. It gets so busy for makers that you don't always know if you're going to be able to leave your table, especially if you're there alone. We do have volunteers that will come around and check on makers to see if you need help. They can watch your table while you go take a bathroom break or go get food. They're not allowed to sell for you, and they're not allowed to actually like take money from you to go get you food. So it's just, you know, one of those things. And then also you're standing on a concrete floor for many, many days. So, or not many, many days, many, many hours. So you want to make sure you like, don't like, I always wear tennis shoes, even though like, I hate the way tennis shoes look with my, you know, outfits, but that's what I wear, because it's like, otherwise you'll be in agony at the end of the day. And the temperature fluctuates at the convention center. It's a green building, so it gets like cold and hot and cold and hot and cold and hot. So you want to make sure you think about that too when you're planning for the day. So this is my contact info, which I think you guys all have. I mean, I think it's a really great event. I think it's a really great opportunity that you're being given and being supported through. I highly recommend you take them up on it. It can be a game changer for small businesses in terms of just growth. And it can also just be a learning experience, and the return on investment of that exposure and just that lesson of how to participate in a large event is huge. You'll learn, you may not, you know, you may sell a ton, you may not sell a ton, but you'll learn so much about yourself, about your business, about what other people are doing, that it's like, it's not, you can't really put a price tag on it. And it's a really competitive event to get into. So being given this opportunity is, you know, it's a pretty big deal. So, I mean, I say take it if you can. Yes.
Do we have to reapply every year as to be juried in?
Yeah, so it's yes. So you know, this year you would come in through, did I just close the meeting? Are you guys all still there? I don't know what just happened. Okay. So sorry. I'm not like, I work from 6 a.m. until like 4 for a reason. My brain like stops functioning at like 7:30. So so if you come this year and do the event, you will have to apply next year. The applications are open from June to August. Generally, it's a $20 application fee. The reason we ask for folks to pay an application fee is a couple of reasons. One, we want to make sure that you're actually serious, because it is, we still, even though there's a fee, we still get like people who apply who are like, what are they making? It's like a weird picture of something that's placed on a blank t-shirt from the internet, and you can tell, and you're just like, what's your product? And then also we pay, so because we're a nonprofit and we value people's time, we pay our jury. So the way we jury folks in is we have 5 planning committee members. We call them our advisory committee. And they've been with the organization for a long time. They're not our board of directors. They're separate from that. They don't make any of the decisions for like the event, the nonprofit, but they help me plan events, and they're all really, really dedicated volunteers. Some of them are makers. Some of them have been makers or small business owners. So they're part of the jury. And then we always invite 5 people from the community in Pittsburgh, either business owners, artists, other nonprofit folks, people who like understand our event. And so everyone's application gets looked at by at least 6 people. It gets ranked, and then you get offered you're either offered a spot in the event, or you can be put on the wait list, or you might not be offered a spot. I'm always willing to help makers who have come in the past, especially with the CBA, with like future applications, pictures, that kind of stuff, to make sure that, you know, you're applying in a way that will be noticed and seen. Because I think it's a great investment. We investing in this stuff with Katie and the Creative Business Accelerator is important to us as an organization. So it's important that we are not only like bringing in makers that they want to support, but to make sure that they're going to continue to be supported in the future if they want to be part of the Handmade Arcade community. Any other questions, Carly?
Yes. So do you have like a range of like how much inventory is suggested? Because I know that's so hard to gauge,
It
but like,
is.
am I going to be like crocheting like 100 pieces? Should I try to split it between the
So
2 days?
specifically, it's specific to each maker, and what I would do, I don't know, like, I obviously I now know that you crochet. What I would do if you wanted is pair you up with a maker here in Pittsburgh who is a crochet artist, who's done the event, who has experience, and they can talk to you about your products and what they brought in the past and what their inventory looks like. Because I think
Perfect.
that's
Yeah.
probably a much better answer than me telling you, because I don't,
I mean, otherwise, I guess that's just run through my head, but I also like I have 2 girls that help me that I have hired, but they make pieces. But I guess what's run through my head is you also kind of just make what you can.
yeah,
Like
right.
shoot for high, but we're human, so
What I tell our youth makers, because this is a conversation, I have this conversation a lot with new makers, and I tell this to new makers, and I tell this with our youth maker cohort. I say print, I give the youth makers like calendar printouts, and I say start backwards and like write in the calendar everything you have coming up, like write in every show, write in every activity, write in your orthodontist appointments, like write in everything, and then figure out what your products are and what they cost and what you would like to see as income for this event. Like, you know, that you're going to be like taking day off of work, spending a night at the hotel, spending this time, and what you're going to invest in the event. Figure out what you'd like to see as a profit margin, and then work backwards from there and decide what you're going to make and how much you're going to make and what products will get you to those goals. I think if you set a goal early, and then your inventory, you'll build your inventory. And yeah, you're right. Like, you're human. You can't come with 1,000 crocheted pieces. That's crazy. You also have to be really mindful of your wellness. And this is why I always say get a good night's sleep the night before or the week leading up. I have done Handmade Arcade in years where I decided to have a table, but because I was part of the planning committee, I always sort of knew I was going to have a table. I could, because it was like it was a perk years ago to like just get a free table. And there were times I didn't start sewing. I used to make aprons and baby stuff and like diaper bags. I didn't start sewing until like the week before Thanksgiving. And then I would like burn myself out and just be like a crazy person and ignore my family and, ignore myself. And so I don't sell anymore because it's too hard to plan the event and sell. I don't sell anywhere anymore. I realize I'm a really good event planner, and I'm really good at running a nonprofit. I'm not good at running a small business. So I think that, you just have to plan and just decide. And if you get there, you get there. And if you don't, you don't. Because the truth is that, you aren't paying the vendor fee, and you aren't paying some of the fees that, other folks are. So you can look at this more as like a learning experience. And I will happily match you up with past makers who are in the event this year who make something similar for you to like pick their brain.
yeah, thank you. That probably, I mean, that'll just help. I don't know, I'm just that type, but that's run through my head. I'm like, you also do exactly what you said. You have to make sure that you don't
Yeah.
get burnt out and make as much as you can, but we're human. So
Yeah.
that was a perfect answer.
Now, this question's for Tasha. Do you know if Acre is gonna cover the room block, or
I don't think so.
that would be
I
fun?
also don't think so.
I think
I
Katie
think it was
told,
in the email. Yeah, I think it was in the email that we're responsible for the
The lodging.
hotel cost.
so you don't have to stay at the Westin. I know the Westin will be $149. There are many other hotels in Pittsburgh that might be close by to the convention center that might be less per night. That is just what we do because we work with the convention center, and it's like it's well over $200 to spend that at the Westin. It's convenience, and it's worth the 100. Honestly, like, it is worth it to be able to just walk across the street. There's a Starbucks in the lobby. I mean, anything you can need, it's right there. But there are other hotels that you could look at in the North Side or the North Shore that might be less expensive. So. And I don't know about parking overnight with the hotel. There might be a cost for parking too. I just thought of for you guys, sorry. Just hit me, so. Are there any other questions? You can always email me questions and I can, and I, like I said, I have other like resources that I will be sharing on the page, so. I know Katie wants to confirm, I think by mid-month, so. That's the deadline I gave her I need to know how many tables to save for you guys, so. Because otherwise I take them off the floor or I try to give them to other artists or whatever, so, yeah. All right. All right, well, that's it. That's all I have to share. So it was nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I hope to see you again and let me know if I can help in any way along the route.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
You're
The
welcome.
event sounds amazing.
I think it is, but I'm biased. So-
Yeah, it's definitely a good opportunity. I'm excited because I think even like you said, obviously things sell, but even if they don't, like you still get to see people and that's fun. That's the fun of events to
Yeah.
me.
I also think too, like just based on my experience of working with Katie from the Creative Business Accelerator here in Pittsburgh, she's never brought an artist in, as far as I know, that didn't do well. Like she's never supported an artist that she didn't believe would do well. I don't think she would offer the opportunity to someone.
Yes.
Because it
I don't know
so.
if this will help either. I have a girlfriend that actually lives out there. She did the spring market with
Yeah.
you guys, and I think she maybe did a past Christmas one. And I asked her when we had heard about like maybe doing this, she gave similar numbers. She was like, I think I clocked in like $2,000, and she
Yeah.
sells items that are like $10 to $15. And she was like, my customers, like new customer list off of her like Square Reader, she was like, I think I had like 3,000 customers. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity, and I definitely suggest collecting email addresses and people's information, even if they're not with the Square. I don't know.
Yeah, how that works.
Yeah, so for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank
All right.
you.
You're welcome. Thanks for showing up. It was nice to meet everybody, and I hopefully will
You
see you all
too.
soon. All right, and good luck, Tasha. Good luck with
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
See ya.